Our weed of the week is Curly Dock. It's a tough perennial weed, but we'll help you on stopping it on your farm.
Well, it's a primary noxious weed, so by law, you have to control this weed if you've got it. But many people don't. We see it out in fields and pastures, in grasslands.
And heavy ground.
Yeah.
It's not real good in acid soils, but in heavy, low, wet ground, that's commonly where we see it.
Even in lawns, I've seen Curly Dock, and people are like, hey, what's this weed? I try to pull it, and it just kind of turns to mush, and I have a tough time, and it regrows. It's Curly Dock.
Yeah.
You got to get that stuff under control.
Yeah, but hey, let's face it, the reason why we see Curly Dock a lot of times is because this is where your crop doesn't grow well, or maybe you cut your lawn too short, or your lawn is thin there. So if you just do everything possible to raise a great crop, a lot of times the Curly Dock goes away. So in low grounds, add some tile drainage, do a better job with fertility, manage that better, and Curly Dock will be less of a problem.
Well, of course, if you have conventional tillage out in your fields, normally in the spring, if you're doing any kind of tillage, you wipe out Curly Dock pretty well, and then you don't have a big problem in crop. We see it more in field situations in reduced till. And once you're in a reduced till situation, and yes, you've got a drainage issue perhaps that's allowing the Curly Dock to compete heavily against your crop, you've got to use a really strong herbicide. In a burn down situation, I really like Roundup at high rates, especially if you can add some Sharpen with it. It seems like we get even more activity on Curly Dock.
Well, we want to get that burn down right away early in the spring, because usually when we're talking perennial weeds like Curly Dock, they're already up and going. So adding some metribuzin in on soybeans with something like Valor or Authority, and if you have to, if Roundup isn't working in your area for some reason, you could always switch to Gramoxone too. In wheat, we like Sharpen. In corn, using a Verdict, which contains Sharpen, that's really good. Otherwise, there are some other products you could try as well.
Post-emerge in soybeans, obviously you've got options like Roundup, and Liberty is not the best on Curly Dock, but those are options that could do a decent job for you. Otherwise, I like the old Synchrony. That STS type chemistry seems to do a little bit on Curly Dock. Also, ALS products like Pursuit or Raptor have some activity. In wheat, I like Addition Broad Spec. Here again, ALS, and it seems to do okay on Curly Dock. In corn, Status is probably my favorite, especially if you throw a little atrazine in with it.
Well, that's it for our Weedy of the Week, the perennial Curly Dock. Stay tuned. Iron Talk is coming up next.